So let's dive right in here. BackLink Factory, get you guys trained up here. So the very first thing, obviously, is going to be your APIs. If you haven't already set that up, that's the first thing you're going to want to do is go through Karen's tutorials on setting those up. You want to make sure you have all of your API keys in here. In particular, you're going to want your Google Translate and your speed links. Those are, I would say, the most critical ones in this so far, but go through, connect them all. Next thing that you're going to want to do is you'll go in, you'll create your Google accounts, name, password, click add new. If you're not seeing anything in here, what I would recommend is just click on refresh data, and this will populate. Sometimes once you add stuff, you'll only get a single line in here, and you'll be like, what the heck, what's going on? If you click this refresh data, all of your stuff, all of the entered in accounts will show up.
Hey Brian, if they've got accounts in like Ranking Factory, can they just export those, import them in here, and they'll populate?
So export accounts, if they're in Ranking Factory, this is an prime example of what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't. But if you have stuff in Ranking Factory, you can export, and then you can go in here to import. This is going to ask for, I believe it's a JSON file, but you can import directly from in a Ranking Factory export, or similarly, if you have an export from here, you can do vice versa. You can import that into Ranking Factory as well. So right. They work synchronistically there. But if you see in something like this, all I would do is just click this refresh data button. Give it a second. All of a sudden, everything pops back up, just like you're seeing.
And are you running different accounts for each client, or are you?
Yeah, the way that I would recommend organizing this is that I tend to use this niche thing right here. Mm-hmm. And the reason I would use niche is specifically because, as you can see, I have personas in here. And what happens is if I want to, what I can do is drill down when we're dealing with sheets into a particular niche. So let's say I'm looking at only my tech personas. Well, now it gives me 2 people that I can select from and upload, as opposed to having everyone.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Cool.
So that's just more of a housekeeping thing. It's not necessary for the functionality of a campaign. It's just the more organized you can be with this, the better off you're going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to just not get super complicated to start with, but just wants to do, pretty robust first pass at it, what's the simplest way to start this? And then we'll.
So the very first thing that I would do whenever you're setting these things up, I'm just going to draw you guys a quick little diagram here. What I would always recommend do is you can start off with either brand name or target keyword. That's really kind of up to you. That will control the flow of how your campaign's going to run. Once this guy opens up here for us, I will make a real quick diagram. And we'll say this is just going to be BLF. Okay, so the very first thing that they're going to want to do when they're creating this is this needs to either be brand or
keyword.
Primary keyword. Okay, so once we have that, then what we're able to do is you can drill down into additional folders here. And what I would recommend here is these are going to be either secondary keywords or locations. So if, let's say, like with Carpet by the Yard, we are targeting specifically Aberdeen. And let's say we also wanted to target, Haverty Grace. What we may do is, so we've got brand or keyword. What you can do then is you can go into, let's say, carpet installation, Haverty Grace. Then you can also have, carpet installation Aberdeen. You can have another one. If you wanted to go even higher up, you could say even carpet installation Maryland. What I would recommend is you want, and another really cool tool here is that you can go to Entity Explorer. This will make your job a lot easier. But one of the things you can do is if we're looking at carpet installation, this will give you an idea of what needs to come underneath each one of these. So with Entity Explorer, what we're looking at here is, let's say we wanted to say carpet installation. It helps if I spell it right too. So you can see these are all of the other entities that they're recognizing that are similar to this particular topic. So what we can look at is, what I would recommend is we probably have a commercial and residential. And so underneath each one of these, what you could do, and these are all going to be either campaigns or they could either be campaigns or folders or however you want to structure this. It's just, this really helps me map things out in a very visual way.
Mm-hmm.
So commercial, carpet installation Aberdeen, this could be residential. Okay. So, and I'll just stick with this as kind of a general, diagram here. So with each one of these, what's going to end up happening is you will create either separate campaigns or separate folders. However you want to do that, the bottom line is just understand where things are going and kind of how you're going to structure this before you get started. It'll save you a lot of headache in the long run.
So is this the beginning formula for you to create the parent and child folders?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, for example, with carpet by the yard, one of the things that we could look at there would be creating a parent folder, carpet by the yard, and then the child folder of that during this first campaign may look something like carpet installation Aberdeen, because that's where they're going to be located at.
Mm-hmm.
So we would do that. Sheet name could be the same if we wanted to, carpet installation Aberdeen, or it could be something like carpet installer Aberdeen, carpet wholesale. And this all comes down to your keyword research. Just what you're going to want to do is find the most commonly used keywords, obviously the most searched for keywords, things like that. So whether you're using Entity Explorer here, you can also go to trends.google.com. And a really quick search there is just see what's more commonly searched for. So if we go to trends.google.com and we look at in carpet installer versus carpet wholesaler, we can really quickly see like what are people looking at. So
when we're looking at those, how do you view the keywords that are showing up under breakout or the top ones in relationship to, AdWords or your the keyword planner?
So I normally don't use keyword planner unless I'm testing for specific markets. What I would look at here, I tend to go with more trends. So this is one method I would use. Mm-hmm. I would also look at the keyword translation tool. That's another one that I would look at. And then I would also look at what Google Auto Suggest is. So carpet wholesaler, let's see here. So in this instance here, I would totally go with carpet installer over wholesaler.
Right.
Way more search volume. Just way more people are looking for that. And then we can even look here. And as you can see, these are the most commonly searched for areas. So
all the time, why spend your effort, especially if you're doing affiliate marketing or something else, why spend time and effort in areas that don't exist for your keyword?
Exactly. Or the other thing that I found is a good example would be like soda, pop, Coke.
Mm-hmm.
All three are the same thing, but depending on where you're at, in the United States. Some people call it soda, some people call it pop, some people call it soda pop, some people call it Coke.
Yeah,
But depending on what you're
Indian.
targeting, you may find that people are calling it something else. And if let's say I was targeting the northeast here, I
Mhm.
would definitely want to start looking at carpet installer, not wholesaler.
Right.
And if I was doing an affiliate marketing campaign, I definitely would want to target Illinois. Probably, some of these other areas like may not be as lucrative for me, but this just gives me a basic idea of where people are searching and what they're looking for. So now knowing that carpet installer is a good term, what I would do is you can even go to google.com. Um, Again, start typing in these various kind of keywords with various modifiers, geographic modifiers, things like that. But the keyword research, it's just the gathering stage. And the more you prep on the front end here, the smoother your campaign is going to run. So even in here, if we went, Aberdeen, we start looking at any of these. So carpet cleaning isn't really necessary to us. So carpet and flooring, that's
Yep.
probably a good one. Carpet shops, carpet stores, those would all be good ones. So typically what I do is I just go over and I grab a notepad and I just start jotting stuff down. Notepad plus plus or just regular notepad, this just tends to be the easiest way. So and what I would look at here is we could even look at just stems, where if we're looking at Aberdeen carpet cleaning, and we were looking at
Shops.
Shops and flooring. Shops, they don't really do carpet cleaning, so we'll get rid of this one. Carpet stores. And then what I would also do is if we're looking at shops, once this pulls up, we can do a space. And again, keyword translation tool does a lot of this heavy lifting for us, but this is just the longhand method. So we can say, let's do a space. No, I don't want you to, Matt. Carpet and flooring and textiles. So textiles might be a good one. You're talking maybe, flooring and whatnot. And then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here. And we're going to look and see if there's any of this stuff that makes sense. So throw that back in here. More flooring we probably don't care about because that most likely is going to be a competitor, but we can double check that. So we'll just even click through here, take a look at what more flooring is. Yeah, more family flooring. So that's a competitor. I don't want that in my list here.
I want to go after that guy. Look at his Google reviews.
Right?
So, ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Right? Own this business? Yeah, definitely go after him. Cool. So what we've got here is you'll go through this, and I'm guessing Pinehurst Flooring is going to be in the same situation. Always double check that because you don't want to be tying your business or entity to someone else. So Pinewood Flooring. Yeah, more floors. And this is pulling up some kind of weird stuff, so I'll probably just eliminate that as well. So once we have our keyword list, you'll want to obviously build this out. Get rid of that one too. Build this out much more robustly. But essentially what you're going to do is you'll take your keywords and I like to make sure that this keywords as anchor text is clicked, but you're going to put in your keywords here. You'll put in secondary keywords. So this could be like best carpet store Aberdeen. If they were focused on cheap services, you could put in that kind of a modifier. If they were looking at like luxury, you could put in that. So luxury flooring, Aberdeen, you can put that there. Residential, so we've got all that. The other thing that you can do is if we have this merge before or after, in the event that we didn't want to put in, or if we were targeting different cities, one of the things that we could do here is, let's say we had this, and I'm just going to eliminate Aberdeen actually. So on any of these particular things, replace Aberdeen with nothing, replace all. One of the things that we could potentially look at doing here is if we wanted to pop in Aberdeen here, and if we go merge, it's going to append that to the very end. And these could all potentially be keywords as well that we might want to target. So I'll just set those aside for a second, or I can do before and check, and that gives me my Aberdeen carpet stores, Aberdeen residential flooring, all of that fun stuff there. So this is kind of a basis or a basic part of here. The other thing that I would also look at doing here is if we're targeting a local business, is going to be going to GMB Maps. And what we'll do is we'll type in the name of the business, Carpet by the Yard. And it helps if you put in a geographic modifier, so Aberdeen, and we'll click search for that.
Okay. Maryland.
Yep, and exactly, if it's not finding it, we'll just search again using different geographic markers, and we'll say,
yep, that's it.
That's them. Okay. Flooring America, Carpet by the Yard. So what we're going to do now is we'll click this generate button. It's going to give us all of our NAP information. And what's interesting here, just as a side note, Patrick, looks like they need to claim their business. But so it's going to give us all of our the address, latitude, longitude. It's going to give us a bunch of the Google Maps information here. That works great. So the next thing that we're going to do is we'll leave this open, and we're going to go and create map variants. Typically for the first campaign, I run 30. So we'll click that to 30, random, lat, and long. It's got the business address there. So we're just going to click that. It's going to give us all of our URLs, 30 of them. Next thing we'll do is we'll just click Sheets.
Well, we got to tell them that variance, what it's doing is it's giving us the same business in the same city, but at a slightly different location. So we're getting different maps, right?
Yeah. So what this is actually doing is if we do Carpet by the Yard, essentially what the software is doing is it's going here into the map. And so we've got Carpet by the Yard. We'll click into the map here, and essentially what it's going to be doing is if they take a look up here in the URL bar, one of the things you'll see is we have the latitude and longitude right here. And essentially what BackLink Factory is doing is it's shifting this around. So you'll notice that this is still the same business, but that latitude and longitude right up there shifts around.
And the purpose of that is it just gives us another powerful map to do a backlink to which directly goes to their site and their business. It's just at a little slightly different latitude and longitude than the regular map.
Right. It's being seen as just a different URL in general, but still tied to this particular business. So next thing that we'll do is we'll import the NAP, and then we'll also import the map data. Now, what I like to do just for visual purpose, I usually will pull this into a notepad just for cleaning things up and just verifying that this is exactly what we're wanting to see here. So we've got Aberdeen, Maryland. It looks like he's not doing an actual street address right now, so we're going to do that. He doesn't have a phone number. You don't want to have any of this garbage in here. So we've got that. The other thing that I would recommend whoever is working on this do is you want to download the GatherUp review plugin here for Chrome. What that's going to do is it's going to give you the CID as well as the place ID. And that'll just save you from having to do it the longhand method of digging through code. But once we have this up, I'm going to copy this, drop that right back into my notepad, and grab the place review, drop that into notepad. Then what I typically do here is once I have this copied, I prefer doing it in an incognito window. You get a little bit different results from it. But what I'll do is I'll go in here and then I grab the share URL. So we've got that, share embed map. I'm going to copy that link, throw that right back in here. Okay, so this is going to be our plus code, and then we've got our latitude and longitude, which is there. This is personal preference, but one of the things you could do is latitude and you could list it like that. Next thing that we're going to do is
Google every opportunity to understand what this business is, who and where it is, and then linking back to all these various things is what's giving us the ranking power.
Yeah. Well, and this is just working in additional keywords and things like that that Google may want to see here. One other thing that we still are running into, or that I'm having, is that I've got a duplicate plus code. You'll see here and here. Actually, this is quadrupling it, and here. So just you want to go through here and just do a little bit of cleanup. Just make sure that everything's looking good. Maps place. That's the same thing. So there we go. That's looking pretty good there. It's pretty cleaned up. All right. So the next thing is we're going to want to go in. We're going to do an about. So what I typically do for this is I'll go to their website, which they don't actually have right here. So this actually looks like a brand new location here. But at any rate, what we can do is carpet by the yard. And what we'll do, I like putting that back up here as well. So carpet by the yard. And if we have this stuff, I like putting this in here. So again, this is a newer location. It doesn't look like they actually have done a whole lot with it, but what we'll do is we'll just throw this right in here.
Location, that's just a different GNB.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go grab any of the information that I can here. And here we go. So we'll do that. And then what I want to do is I want to grab a little bit of like about us. Just grab some boilerplate stuff here. So we'll grab this, toss this right into here. And then we go back in and do related searches. And what we'll do is we'll just go in here and grab all this stuff. just like that. So this is a pretty good to go file. I usually save this, and I'll call it something like carpet, client name by the yard, boilerplate. Okay, so good to go there. This gets copied 1, 2, 3, pasted right in like that.
You see the descriptions in the title up there, the file description, parent folder and child folder.
Yep. So this is carpet yard. So we can do something like that where it's business name geomodifier, and that'll work just fine. So once we have this all set here, what I tend to do is I will save this, and we can use the parent folder as the name, and we'll save it. This is going to make your job a lot easier when we go back in and we're doing multiple campaigns, because then you can go back in and just load it, and it's going to load this exact template up. You can change out your keywords, change out the links that you want to use, and just for everyone's own edification or for their reference, it doesn't have to be a GMB link. But GMBs, the map variants tend to help local ranking and move things up in kind of organic search. The thing about other links, like if you're using Twitter, Facebook, anything like that, you just want to make sure that they're a high-powered link and that you're not just pointing things that are low power towards it. So once we have all this done, what I would do is go up here, we go ahead and we enter in one of the particular personas that we want to upload it to. So in this case, I'm going to upload it to this one here. And once we have this particular backlink campaign set up, you always want to double check this unique rows. On your first campaign, it should not be more. I probably wouldn't go more than 600 or 700 links. If you're doing more than that, it could potentially cause a dance, and then things get squirrely and crazy there. But just double check this. The problem that we see a lot of people run into with Backlink Factory is that they get too aggressive, and they would do something like, just as a point of case, they would throw in several keywords just like this, and notice how this kicks up over 2,700 rows. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that's not how many links you're creating. Because we have keywords as anchor text, what you're actually doing is you have 2,700 unique rows, but because we are linking here, here, and here, you're actually multiplying that by 3. So you would be creating in one click 8,100 or 8,100 links in one shot. Way overkill, especially for any kind of new campaign to be run. You can build up to that, but I definitely would not recommend that right out of the gate. So aside from that, this again is pretty much good to go. Again, right here, what we're going to be doing, 540 links multiplied by 3, so roughly 1,600. Still a lot of links, but overkill on it. So we've selected the campaign, we've taken a look at this, and then what we'll do is we'll click, we can do open uploaded when we're done. That's entirely up to you. These other buttons here, custom keyword stack, if you have a bunch of keywords here, let's say we had keyword 1, keyword 2, and keyword 3. What a custom keyword stack would do is it would create a child folder with the folder name of keyword 1. The child folder name would, or the description would fall under here, and then it would create a sheet with all of these links in it. It would then go into a child folder number 2, call this keyword 2, and create this identical sheet into it. Keyword 3 up here, and then create an identical sheet within it as well. Similarly, if we did primary keywords as stack, it's going to take these keywords, create a child folder called Aberdeen Carpet Stores, a child folder called Aberdeen Carpet and Flooring, Aberdeen Carpet Shops, so on and so forth, but the sheet will stay the same between all of those. Now, if you click this button as well, what this is going to do is it'll create a folder link stack. So this is going to actually create a more or less table of contents that will then give you all of the folders in it, or a link sheet with all of the folders in it. So I normally don't mess with that unless you're talking further on campaigns, referring back to this diagram. Once we start getting into this, then I might do something where we've got like the 1, 2, 3, and this is where we get into like the primary keyword stack, something like that. But it would totally be for just like once we actually have an established folder structure, then I would start doing the mass things like this. So once we have that, what we'll do is we just go ahead and we click upload. BackLink Factory is going to do its thing. And it's going to give us our drive folder. So this is the parent folder, this is the child folder, and then we have our sheets as well as an iframe. Iframes can then be put into Ranking Factory, be it the G site or into anywhere pretty much that you can iframe. I would recommend you put that in there. And then if you wanted to, you can double check this. You can just copy any of these links here or click on them. It'll open up in your browser. And you'll see that we have our sheet. So Carpet Wholesaler Aberdeen, we've got all of this going through here. This gives us our folder. And what you'll see is just that sheet in this one folder. And then we also have the drive, the actual stack with it. We'll come back to that here if this just isn't loading. Here we go. So referencing back in BackLink Factory, what we're looking at here, where all of this parent description goes, that will actually go into, it's like a meta description. So in details, what we'll see is that this all contains everything that we just put in there. So related searches, all that fun stuff there. And that's going to actually be associated with this particular file now. Same thing if we go up to the next folder up here. Give it just a second. I'll just go back up a level here. So Carpet by the Yard, Aberdeen, Maryland. There you go. So we've got that. The very last step that I do here is I will go in and with any of these published URLs, one of the things that I would do is go into Links Indexer and then use the free allowance, call this Carpet Installation Aberdeen, click go. And notice in this status, it's finished uploading and we are done. From there, I walk away from this for about 2 to 3 days, come back, monitor it, see how the campaign's doing, if it's gone up, down, whatever's happened there, and then run another campaign based on whatever I'm finding. So,
what are you using for stat track?
So for stat tracking, I'm currently using Rank Tracker from SEO Power Suite. I have used a couple other things. So I was tracking this here in SEM Rush, and really the only thing you want to double check is just know what your keywords are, because if you have garbage in, and you're going to get garbage out. So if you have an idea of what keywords you're wanting to track, this works absolutely fantastic. You could use SEMrush, Ahrefs, you could use Rank Tracker from SEO Power Suite, SERP Robot.
How's our free version work, Brian?
With SEO Power Suite,
Mm-hmm.
the problem with that is that you're going to have to take a snapshot. The free version will not let you download a report. You need to be at either the pro or enterprise level for that. But the free version will at least give you a snapshot of it. You could take a snapshot of, like, here's where your rankings were today as soon as we ran this, or on a specific day. So we can do position tracking here. And as you were mentioning earlier on the call, we have not done anything with this particular one in probably a month, more than a month.
We've let that sit for a while just to see, because they want too much, right?
Yep. So we'll take a look here and see what this does. See what this looks like. Close out of a couple other things here.
So everybody should go get SEO Power Suite and get the free version.
Yeah, they could definitely do that. I mean, if you're on a budget, that's definitely one way to go. SERP Robot's another way to go. It depends on how many clients or whatever. It depends on what you're trying to track. SERP Robot's really nice. That's another one that I would use. Mm-hmm. And I think it's $5, but it's limited to $5 for here's a set amount of keywords. Right. $5 per month, but set amount of keywords, and so it's a set amount of keywords, and then it's a particular region that you can check. So outside of that, one of the things that the kind of downfall of that is if you have multiple clients, multiple keywords, and multiple locations you're trying to track, that can get all over the place. It can get really, really expensive there. So it all comes down to your particular client base, what you're doing, and pretty much how you're moving forward with it. So obviously average position, they've kind of not done so great there, but let's look at Carpet by the Yard, their overview.
Yeah, but if you go back and look at where they were when we first started 3 months ago and compare that to today.
Yeah, I mean, you can see here. So their overall visibility as of January, they really took a hit there. But
why do you think that is?
Algorithm update. There's a January update that happened. So you can see got a lot of movement going on here, started going up, and then boom. And then these were where we were doing those other campaigns. Mm-hmm.
So what did you do with your clients to thwart the algorithm update?
It's the thing with the algorithm update is it's all about entity, and if you had a solid entity, the problem that I think we ran into on this one is that we didn't actually have on page, and we couldn't say, look, this is us. Right. And we weren't able to establish that, and even for what I'm seeing here, where he's got, it's Carpet by the Yard, but then if we went back to it's Charlie Packard's Flooring America, Carpet by the Yard. Mm-hmm. That starts to confuse the entity, and my guess is that something like that he did there probably happened back in early January, because if we do Carpet Yard, let's even do Maryland. So yeah, I'm not even seeing his other one here.
Right.
So that would be my guess is, when we're building links to it, or let's go back in here, when we've got this kind of stuff and we're building links, and then all of a sudden they do a massive change like that, boom. They've got another update right here. core update, the 14th. So my guess is that this is when it was officially released. My guess is that they did some change to their entity right here, and it's just like, yeah, it's not being seen there. So
gotcha. So details of what we're doing are very critical in terms of identifying specifically to the T the business and how Google sees that business within the search that we're doing.
absolutely, and you can even put in your own entity here. So you can see even Carpet by the Yard, Maryland. So they're seeing like home MD, trim, flooring, building products. These would all be great keywords to target. For some reason, they're also seeing like Keller Williams here. And
Flea.
So Flea, I'm not sure what that is, but advanced carpet cleaning and restoration. So these are all things. MLS is probably related to Keller Williams because it's a real estate term there. But you want to look at this and see what is it that Google's associating you with, because if it's coming up with some weird stuff, then you need to do more with this entity to establish that it's not related to Keller Williams. It should be more closely related to carpet tile and, building products and flooring and those kinds of things. So this is a really handy tool here to, at a quick glance, you can see what is it that people are being related to,
Yep.
I'm stepping out on a limb here. I don't know what this is going to return, but yeah. So these are the kind of things that are being associated with BackLink Factory.
What's the stuff on the left versus on the right?
They're just different nodes, so that it doesn't all get on one side here. But I mean, you can take these, you can spread them out. The other thing is that you can also click on this stuff. So like if we're talking SEO, we can break this out into separate nodes. And then these could potentially even be targets for other campaigns that you're running. So you've got that. Let's say, quality backlinks. And again, some of these things you wouldn't necessarily want to target. Like I would not want to target Backlinko or Ahrefs necessarily. But, if I'm looking at, ranking, yeah, sure, let's take a look at that. So what are the other terms that are associated with that? And then if you wanted to close any of this stuff up,
just hit the X.
Yep. Click it. Right click it, and then you can remove any of that. But you can also do that if it's something that we're like, yeah, I don't know what this is. We just don't want to look at it right now. You can just right click and remove. But yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And then, like I said, go back in here, take a look at it in a couple days. The biggest thing that I see with a lot of people on this is that they get too aggressive too quickly with it. And that's when you start running into issues.
So you don't want to blow up it with a howitzer. I mean, just use a little, handgun.
Exactly. Go in here, run this, let it sit for 2 or 3 days, go back in here, modify a couple of your keywords, do some new map variants, put in, make sure you're not triggering that warning thing, and then do another campaign. Then come back here in another 2 or 3 days and do another campaign. But if you get too aggressive with this, that's when things start really jumping. Because even when we were doing Carpet by the Yard, I was seeing jumps of 99 positions day in and day out, where it was like you're being seen as relevant, and then you're not being seen as relevant at all. And then it's up in position 2, and then it's up in position 99. and then 3 and 99 and 1 and 99. But yeah, the big thing that you want to look at here is just making sure that you're just kind of feathering it. Put in a couple links at a time, make sure that we're good to go there, and it would be perfectly, that would make complete sense.
All right.
So
the only other question that I think we need to explain that's going to come up is what's a randomizer?
So a randomizer I don't normally use, but this will help you kind of randomize. Like if we were to do it here, it's going to randomize the keywords in this whole deal here. I don't normally use that personally.
Right.
But if you wanted to mix up the keywords with, make it so that it's a little more random in all of this, you can totally do that.
Okay.
Cool. And again, save load feature here. This is going to be probably one of their best friends. This is a really, really simple thing because let's say, let's say we finished out the campaign. We're going to close it. And then let's pop Sheets back open. Well, I think I'll have to clear it. So we're just going to clear the entire campaign out of here. So as if we just opened up BackLink Factory, what we can do then is I can go in here into load, look for the date and campaign that we ran, open this guy up, and my entire campaign's there, ready to go. All I have to do is start throwing in. Yep.
Change a couple keywords and do it again.
Yep. And that's, again, I would come back here in like 2 or 3 days, take a look at that, do another campaign, save it, run it again 2 to 3 days later.
Right. All right. So everybody better find the time when you can let us know when you're going to be here so that the next time this week coming when we get together, you can have your own BackLink Factory done, and we can have a Q&A and talk about, because I want everybody to have theirs done and be prepared to show it on the training this week sometime. So
Cool.
it's one of the easier programs that we have, and there's no reason why you can't master this one pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. Talk to you
Welcome.
soon.
Cool.
Okay, man.